This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Oh, it's a great day to be alive, and it's a great day to be a bettor. Welcome to another edition of Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network. I'm Femi Abebefe, hanging out with you guys at the Circa Resort and Casino in downtown Las Vegas. They should have never let us get back together, my friend.
That's
Alongside
right.
my guy, Jonathan Von Tobel, JVT. This is a throwback to what we used to do. What was it, Betting Across America? I believe was the 4-hour Sunday show that we used to do. Like now we're back here on a more condensed version, but it's good to be filling in for Stormy Bonatoni as we will play Where in the World is Stormy a little bit later in the program.
And I am here.
Yes.
This is what happens. April Fools, I'm in studio. This is how this thing works. That's right.
Yeah.
But looking forward to it. They were great. The weekends were absolutely a fantastic time. And we get some live betting, actually, while we're going to be on the air today, because this Royals game is about to get started here in just a couple of minutes. So we got a couple of things that we have to get to, and we'll be keeping track of golf in the first round and more. So it'll be a little bit of a throwback to what we used to do on the weekends.
Most definitely.
More serious, though, of course, because we're a Monday through Friday show now, Femi.
We're buttoned up. It's no longer Sunday Fun Day.
Yeah, that's right.
As it was way back in the day. But we'll have a little bit of fun here over these next couple hours on Money Moves, and we hope you guys have fun with us as well. Make sure to watch us, vsin.com/watch, the VSiN Watch app. You can listen, as always, 24/7. We're in your ear on Sirius XM channel 158. I'm on Twitter at Femi Abebefe. JVT's on Twitter at MeJVT. We got our whole crew behind the glass here at Circa. Justin Emery, our producer, with us on the ones and twos. And we'll have one guest joining us actually in the next segment. In less than 15 minutes, we'll be joined by none other than Greg Hoops Peterson, our VSiN college basketball aficionado, breaking down the Final Four, the NIT, and maybe a little bit of Crown as well. As Hoops, he's not just an elitist like I am with college basketball. He's grinding on the Crown basketball tournament that is over down the road at the MGM Grand Arena as well.
Yeah, he can have fun with that. Humans was down there yesterday as well. I saw the picture. Yeah, he was, of course. Of course he was.
Should we call him?
I mean, he actually, this is the time where Matt sleeps, I believe, so he's probably not awake right now. But I commend Greg and everybody else that wants to continue to grind through that tournament.
Yeah.
We got a near upset yesterday, too, actually, unfortunately, that I know. The game went to overtime, the Colorado-Oklahoma game, and so that looked like it was a bunch of fun. We talked about that at length with Bruce Marshall. But either way, Greg will have thoughts on that. We'll get his best bets and, more importantly, the Final Four and what the Natty will look like on Monday.
Most definitely. Speaking of the Crown, Will Hill was on that. He laid it with Oklahoma. I was doing VSiN primetime with him, not to throw shade at him or anything like that, but we were talking about that a little bit all throughout the show since we are a live betting show, and that was one of the games that we had at our disposal on what was a light night in the world of sports. But real quick, you mentioned it. We do have that Royals-Twins game that's about to get underway, first pitch in about 8 minutes or so. I have a couple of bets on this game, but want to get the folks an updated look at where the betting market sits right now in terms of the consensus number. And looking at it right now, Kansas City minus 158 on the money line, Minnesota plus 130, total 9.5. I have nothing side or total. Do you have anything side or total with this game? It's early season baseball, in my opinion, hard to handicap.
Yeah, so I was leaning a little bit toward the Royals, and this goes a little bit back to yesterday. I don't know if it's an overpricing of what the Twins are or maybe an underpricing of what the Royals can be. I'm very pro Kansas City coming into this year. It's one of two American League futures that I've had them in Texas to win the American League. And one of the things that we noticed yesterday was the Twins, and I get it was Joe Ryan, but they were short favorites on the road yesterday against the Royals, and they ultimately get blasted early, make a little bit of a fake comeback, and ultimately fall. But the whole point here being is that maybe the Royals, for whatever reason, and different versions for every single game, are getting shorted a little bit here. And today, you see some spots open like $1.68, and we get a little bit of movement toward Minnesota. So I think that maybe the market shortened them a little bit. Now, Reagan's coming off of a pretty poor outing, 4 innings pitched, faced 21 batters, got taken deep 3 times, 4 earned runs in that one. ERA of 9, FIP over 13. So you expect that maybe Reagan's is just going to be pretty poor. That was on the road against Atlanta. But I do think that Reagan's obviously has a little bit more in him than what we expect, and that maybe it's a little bit of a buy low spot. And this Royals offense, we've talked about this a lot, too, throughout the offseason. Playing at home, I think, is going to be a strength for them. They move in the park. The power's going to be there. We've seen it in the last 3 games. The 3-1 win they had against the Twins the other day, that was all home runs, 2-run shot, a solo shot, and another one as well. Yep. So maybe this Royals team being a little undervalued is leaning toward a minus 150 here for the Royals. But we're going to be on the air. Might as well just fire. Let's just see what
Let's get it. Let's do it. I have nothing side or total for me because I like to get like a little bit more data. I love betting first fives in Major League Baseball. I know a lot of people like to do that as well, kind of take the bullpen out of the equation, but I like to see, 30, 35 games of data first before I start to dive into those waters. The waters that I do play in, though, in the early going, the home run bets. Yep. Let's go Yard. Let's go Yard, baby. Because last night in that Royals-Twins game, Josh Bell had him to hit a home run. Bang, he went Yard. Dodgers-Guardians, Freddie Freeman to hit a home run. Bang, he went Yard. Let's go back to the well. 2 more for the Twins. My guy. I can't quit this guy. And I just want him to put one season together at full health. No, it's not Byron Buxton. It's the guy that makes Byron Buxton look like an Iron Man. It's Royce Lewis, plus 475 to hit a home run. He is as talented as all get out. He just cannot stay healthy. But couple homers already this year. Barrel percentage pretty good. I like Royce Lewis to leave the yard this afternoon. And on the Kansas City side, how about a little Carter Jensen, plus 425 that you can find? This is a guy that also has a very high barrel percentage. That's what I look for when we look at some of these home run bets. Guys that are squaring up with the baseball, maybe getting a little bit unlucky. It tends to get there for them. So a couple of guys, Royce Lewis on the Twins, Carter Jensen on the Royals, and let's have an afternoon sweat.
I'd add to that, too. One of the issues with Reagan's in this park, I was talking about this with Mike Palm a couple of days ago, he is a fly ball pitcher. Yep. And so with the fences moved in and the fact that maybe homers are going to be a little bit more prevalent here in Kansas City. And obviously you would hope that means that your lineup benefits from it the most. But other teams coming in, taking on some of the guys like Reagan's who have a penchant for giving up more fly balls and ground balls, that's going to be something that works in their favor. Bradley doesn't give up a ton. He's more of a ground ball guy. But still, I think you could look in that direction for some of these balls to leave the park here today. And the other thing that helps you out, wind blowing out 21 miles an hour. It's a blustery day. So that could help and maybe work against our guy Reagan's here. I'll add Vinny P as well.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go Vinny Pasquantino to hit a home run, and let's have some fun and sweat these things out today.
Hell yeah. That's what we're supposed to do here. We got games on. Let's bet them. Let's sweat them as we will get into all of the happenings in the world of sports on this Thursday on Money Moves. Let's hit the rundown this afternoon.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is the rundown.
All right, up first, and this one is just down the road from us here in Las Vegas. How about this? We're calling it the QB Battle of the Nerds. I think square might be a little bit more of the more apt term here, but all jokes aside, the Las Vegas Raiders earlier this morning signing veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins. They've talked about this, wanting to add a veteran quarterback into that QB room, of course, in a few weeks. NFL draft, they're likely to take Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza, but they want Mendoza to have someone to look up to and a veteran presence to help them along the way, and they get their guy in Kirk Cousins.
Yep, the Coles Bucks come on down to Las Vegas. There's quite a few that are out there. This got to be the lamest quarterback room in the NFL ever put together. That includes Kubiak, by the way.
In Sin City.
Yeah, and that includes Kubiak. Like Kubiak, from what I can tell, like personality-wise, is kind of a stick in the mud. They're all just nerds who want to play football and coach football. So I guess that works for the Las Vegas Raiders. Yep. But I think the real question is, what is his role going to be? They want a veteran, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to start right away. I know some people expect that that's going to be the case, but I'll be very curious to see what Kirk's role is going to be for Fernando Mendoza, the assumed first overall pick, and more. So decent signing. We'll get into more of the details, the money, and everything else a little bit later.
Oh, yeah. I think a very, very interesting signing here for the Las Vegas Raiders, who got Max Crosby back, made a bunch of signings in free agency. Maybe, just maybe, they're ready to compete earlier than people think. What's up next on the rundown?
I like this one. This is my favorite one.
He has risen from AAA.
That's right. Easter weekend. I came up with this one on my own. This one's a good one. We have a new contender for NL Rookie of the Year. Connor Griffin, the number one prospect, gets called up. We'll have that as part of our discussion. Short baseball card, but we got to get into some of the awards. And he is up, baby. He's here. And I think we're all very excited for that. That's clever, right? That's a good one.
I'll just say, don't get Kevin Harlan. You know, there was a lot with like that Syracuse-Virginia Elite Eight game on Easter Sunday way back when, and everyone, people got upset with Kevin Harlan's final call on that one with the Qs coming back. That's all I'm saying.
I went to Catholic school throughout my entire life, first all the way through 12th grade. I think God's got a sense of humor.
He does. Well, if he didn't, I don't know why we all laugh and all make jokes at this point. But yes, Connor Griffin, very much looking forward to the top prospect in all of baseball. I was looking at some of his highlights early on Twitter. I'm like, this dude is like, I'm not grinding the minor league stuff. I don't care to that extent. But like watching some of the stuff that people posted, my goodness, like this dude, he might be the next guy that we're talking about as being a superstar in Major League Baseball. Not even 20 years old. We'll discuss that a little bit later on. And finally, this one from last night, JVT. Wemby at it again as he is talking the talk and walking the walk as he continues to make a push towards regular season MVP.
Victor Wembanyama, 41 points, 18 rebounds, 3 blocks, goes 16 to 22 from the floor, 2 of 6 from three-point range, and a beatdown of the Golden State Warriors. What a season it has become for Golden State, but more importantly, I love seeing Victor Wembanyama publicly just go for the MVP. It's absolutely tremendous. Did it again last night.
Yeah, and that's his thing. And it's refreshing because, I know, SGA was asked about it. He said, hey, I let my play do the talking, which is totally cool as well. Not everybody has to be the same way. Some guys like to talk. Some guys don't like to talk. But Wemby is like, nah, man. All-Star game, yeah, I'm playing hard. MVP, yeah, I want it. Thunder, yeah, we hate them. He is all the way in. And I was looking back because, there's a couple of tweets that I had from a couple of years ago about Victor Wembanyama when he was first coming onto the scene in the NBA. And I even said it back then. I'm like, yeah, in 2 years, this will be Wemby's league. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure we're there yet, but I think in about 8-9 months, I think we're going to be saying that this is Victor Wembanyama's league. 41-point, back-to-back 41-point games? Whoo, buddy. Do you think you got a chance for MVP here? Or do they have to get the one for him to get it?
So for some voters, they have come out, Michael Wilbon, and have said if he has to get the one to get their vote, essentially. Mm-hmm. So Wilbon, just like any logical voter, has Jaylen Brown number 1, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander number 2, and Victor Wembanyama number 3. But if Victor Wembanyama gets the 1 seed, that is enough to leap both Jaylen Brown and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for his vote. I think you can make the argument, maybe we can pick this up a little bit later. I think you can make the argument, given what some media members are saying, that minus 300 might be cheap for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to win this thing right now. I think Victor's going to have a strong career, as we all do. He's having a strong year, but I do think there's a lot of media members who are coming out now with their opinions on awards. We have a couple, and I think that Shai is probably going to take this thing from him.
Hey, you can talk all that talk about Jaylen Brown. 43 points last night in the Celtics' 147-129 win over the Miami Heat. Laid the 4.5 with the Celtics last night on VSiN Primetime. Jaylen Brown, for one night only, was my MVP.
That's right.
Greg Hoops Peterson joins us next as we're just getting started here on a Thursday on Money Moves.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back. This is Money Moves. Femi Abebefe, Jonathan Von Tobel hanging out with you guys here on VSiN on a Thursday afternoon. We're underway at the Kauffman Stadium. A little golf clap for you there. Huh?
Just excited. We're underway. We're here. Very much looking forward to Saturday and the Final Four.
Damn right we are.
And I think we have a great guest to discuss that with.
Nobody better to talk Final Four, talk college basketball, NIT, crown, if you will, than our college basketball aficionado here at VSiN. The one and only Greg Hoops Peterson joining us here via the Progressive Guest Line. Coast to Coast Hoops is the podcast, and he's on Twitter at gunit_81. Hoops, always a pleasure to speak with you as always. Love to check in with you and catch up. In terms of the Final Four, we have a couple of games, obviously, Illinois, UConn, Michigan, and Arizona. The Illini laying 2 in the first game, total 139. Do you see this UConn momentum? After what we saw, UConn winning at the buzzer against Duke, is that what carries the way here come Saturday? Or is Illinois the rightful favorite in this one? Are they going to cover the number?
I think that the momentum might be calming down a little bit for UConn, but I just simply think that this is a good spot for them because with Illinois, they attempt so many threes. 49.8% of their field goal attempts come from three, 15th in the country, and you go up against an Illinois team, you go up against a UConn team that away from home allows teams to shoot less than 30% from three. They're 11th in the country there. You compound that with playing this game at Lucas Oil Stadium, a football field that has been converted to basketball, and typically that causes for some, shall we say, strange sightlines, and I think that it helps out UConn. Now, Illinois is perhaps the tallest team in all of college basketball with the Avicic brothers, David Mirkovich, all those guys, but I think Terrace Reed is going to be able to stand up quite well as well, but here's what I also think is a big kicker for UConn. They've been dealing with an injury all tournament long to Silas Emery. He's their leader in assists with about 6 assists per contest. That full week off is going to allow him to be closer to 100%. I don't know if he's going to be fully 100%, but I think that he's going to be a little bit closer there. He's been pretty pedestrian here in the NCAA tournament, going back just before the end of the regular season as well. I think that the rest is going to do him some good. So felt like UConn should be the favorite. I took them at plus money on the money line.
Total-wise, Greg, what do we expect here? 139.5, the number really across the screen.
I do like the under. Both of these teams are outside the top 290 in terms of total possessions per game. Laid it out with Illinois being a team that loves to take threes, but I just don't think that they're going to drop in this game the way that they have in the past, with it being two-pronged with the way the UConn guards the arc. And now you're playing in a football stadium that they're going to be playing basketball in. So I think that the sightlines are going to be a little bit off. And UConn has just held up defensively all season long. Top 15 team in terms of points allowed on a per possession basis. So that total of 139.5, I do like to the under.
This is Money Moves. Femi Abebefe, Jonathan Von Tobel, hanging out with Greg Hoops Peterson here on the Progressive Guest Line. Of course, you can check out the Coast to Coast Hoops podcast, and he's on Twitter at @GUnit_81. Well, how about the second game, the monumental game, the game that everyone's been looking forward to, whether you're a big-time college basketball fan, a casual college basketball fan, and that's Michigan and Arizona. Almost fit to be a national title game, but we're getting it here in the national semifinal. You have the Wolverines as the 1.5-point favorite. Reports out there today that their guard, Elliot Cadeau, seems to be fine after the allergic reaction that caused him to travel separately from the team. How do you see this one playing out from a side perspective? Are the Wolverines the rightful favorite, or is wrong team favorite and maybe Arizona carries the day Saturday night?
I feel like you can make a great case for either of these teams, because I think at their absolute peak of peak, when these two teams are firing on all cylinders, you're getting your A+ of A+ games. Michigan is a little bit better than Arizona, but my argument is that Arizona has been the more consistent team this far this season and are a little bit more, shall we say, well-rounded. And I do think that the turnover battle is going to be big in this game as well. For Michigan, just 287th in the country in terms of turnovers generated on a per-possession basis on defense. Meanwhile, Arizona really good in terms of taking care of the ball. Top 50 team in terms of fewest turnovers on a per-play basis. Michigan, more in that neighborhood, about 158. So that did land me on Arizona being the small favorite on my handicap. I'm going to be willing to take the plus 105, even money line that I'm seeing right now on Arizona, as I do think that they're going to be able to match up down low. You've got Ademara, Yaxel Lendeborg, Morris Johnson doing all that they're doing for Michigan. A combined 3 blocks per game. I'll give you at least 6.8 rebounds per game. But Mo Karivas, Toby Awaka combining for 16 rebounds per game. I think that that's going to be big. And what I think is good for Arizona is that they really don't take a lot of threes. I was mentioning it with the sidelines being a little bit off. Arizona, top 40 team in terms of percentage of their field goal attempts that come from inside the three-point line. But when they've needed to take threes this far this season, the likes of a Jaden Bradley have been able to step up. They've been a top 55 team with that three-point shooting percentage. So I think that Arizona has all the goods here. I do think that this is the de facto national title game, and I've got Arizona getting the job done. I like them on the money line.
Greg, what do you make of this? Like from an in-game standpoint, how much do you do in a standalone game like this? Would you look at it? It's a 1.5-point spread, and the total's pretty high, 157.5. On the surface, it would seem like this is a game there's going to be a lot of ebbs and flows and a lot of different opportunities to bet either team, whether you like Michigan or Arizona.
In a traditional sense, I don't do a ton of in-game betting when it comes to college basketball, but when you want to go in-game betting, you want to be gauging the game itself, you want a standalone game, and this is absolutely perfect for it, because this is a game where I feel like you could be splitting hairs, and this could be the old NBA adage, and we've seen it all NCAA tournament long. The team that gets up at the half, the team that has a really nice start, they sort of wane in the second half. We saw that in 3 of the 4 Elite 8 games, as a matter of fact. So if you do see Michigan get down big, you could be able to find some great value on them in game. Same goes for Arizona. And I feel like that's one where you want to have a little bit of a blank canvas. You don't want to be in the back of your mind being like, oh, I must bet this team, I must bet that team, because you do want to be seeing how things go. Because just because a team starts like 3 of 4 from 3 or 4 or 5 from 3 doesn't immediately mean that they're going to cool down. You want to be gauging, oh, was that 4 or 5 from 3-point range start because of really, really bad defense, or were they hitting contested shots? If it's contested shots, you probably bank on the team that's been getting a little bit unlucky. If it's bad defense, maybe you stay away. But I do think that this can present some really good betting opportunities, mainly because both of these teams are just so complete, are so good. And I do think that in the end, this is going to be ultimately a one-possession game.
You can answer this one in pencil, not pen, but you like both dogs, so that means Arizona-UConn Monday night in the national title game. Are you favoring the Wildcats, or is that who likes to cut down the nets come Monday night, or do you think UConn actually does this thing and cements themselves as the dynasty, winning 3 out of the last 4?
I feel like whoever wins this Michigan versus Arizona game is going to be the favorite, whether that be Illinois or UConn. And I feel like they're going to be more than a full possession favorite in that game as well. Like, if it would be Arizona versus UConn, I would have to think that I'd be probably landing on Arizona being closer to a 4.5 to 5 point favorite. Obviously, subject to some change. You want to see how these teams play in a football stadium, because I don't think that any of these teams have really played in a football stadium all season long. Maybe you got one stray game in November, but at this point, that was 4+ months ago. That's essentially ancient history at this point. But I do think that no matter if it's Michigan or if it's Arizona that wins, they will be the favorite in the title game by probably a pretty healthy margin.
Look ahead lines for that, Greg, to put some context behind it. Arizona and Michigan would both be 3.5-point favorites over Illinois. This is at DraftKings. You can bet these look ahead lines. Arizona and Michigan would both be 5.5-point favorites over UConn. How does that sound?
I probably would take 5.5 with UConn. Again, want to see how they're going to be faring there, but my initial line was going to be probably like 4.5, 5. So that does feel a little bit high, especially in a title game, and especially if you could get UConn with a guy in Dan Hurley who's won 2 out of the last 3 titles. If I'd be able to get 5.5 points in that sort of a scenario, that would be very enticing.
I mean, it's also interesting, too, given the stuff. They keep asking Tommy Lloyd, Greg, whether he's going to take the North Carolina job. That job has been open for about a week now. I'm not saying that he's distracted, but there's stuff going on in Tommy Lloyd's life. Positive stuff, but stuff nonetheless, as opposed to what's going on over at UConn with Dan Hurley. Any most outstanding player bets? We got about a minute left. Any most outstanding player bets, guys, that you would identify, whether on the Arizona side or the UConn side, because you seem to be pretty firm in both those teams winning on Saturday?
I think the one guy that might be able to present some strange value here is Terrace Reed. And I say that because he out-rebounded Furman by himself for the first round of the NCAA tournament. It is very clear that if UConn is going to have themselves a big Final Four, it's probably going to be running through Terrace Reed. That, I think, is a little bit interesting. I was seeing him like 16, 18 to 1. So that's a guy that I think is going to be able to present a little bit of value. And then if you're looking on the Arizona side of things, Braden Burries has been their top scorer, but I feel like if they need to trust in a guy in the last shot, that probably would be going to Jaden Bradley. I think Bradley is number 2 on the team. Burries is right now number 1 in terms of a lot of these markets have right around about plus $3 in terms of the Arizona Wildcats. I'd be looking at Bradley because they might have similar stat lines, but I think that Bradley, if they have a really close game, they win a game by a possession or 2, he might be the guy that really comes through in crunch time.
Yeah, and once again, to remind folks, this is just most outstanding player for the Final Four. So what has happened in previous games of the tournament, that does not count, or at least they say it doesn't count. But,
right.
Of course, we're dealing with humans, and they probably factor that stuff in, which is how you get Ochai Agbaji winning the most outstanding player. But, nobody's salty about that one. He is Greg Hoops Peterson. Check him out. Coast to Coast Hoops is the podcast on Twitter at @GUnit_81. Hoops, we hope all is well. Good luck with the bets, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Always appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, that is Greg Hoops Peterson joining us via the Progressive Guest Line. That's not even the worst one, honestly, for me. Like, I had Ty Jerome to win most outstanding player of the year. The guy averaged like a triple-double, and then, here's Kyle Guy because he made 3 free throws against Auburn. Yeah, that's how that goes. So be careful if you're dabbling with MOP. We'll dabble with some NLROY next here on Money Moves.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're exactly 1 week away from the opening round of the Masters at Augusta National. And if you think you know the field better than the average bettor, well, it's time to prove it. The VSiN High Stakes Masters Challenge on Splash Sports is a $500 entry with $100,000 guaranteed. Fantasy tiers contest built specifically for golf bettors. Here's how it works. You draft 6 golfers, 1 from each tier of the field. Your top 5 scores count, and the lowest combined score across all 4 rounds wins. Your worst golfer gets dropped automatically, but missed cuts carry an 8-stroke penalty, so roster construction matters. Entry closes April 9th at 8 a.m., so don't wait. Head to splashsports.com/VSiN and use promo code VSiN for a 50% deposit match up to $100, a free $20 Quick Picks entry, and a 100% Quick Picks boost. Just go to splashsports.com/VSiN and use promo code VSiN. Welcome back. It is Money Moves. Femi Abebefe, Jonathan Von Tobel hanging out with you guys here at the Circa Resort and Casino. Thank you to Greg Hoops Peterson, who joined us in the last segment to give out all of his bets for the Final Four. He likes both dogs, Arizona and UConn on Saturday, and then it looks like he will like Arizona coming up on Monday, which I think that's fair, but in terms of the point spread, he did lean towards UConn at the look-ahead lines that are currently available. We are also keeping our eyes on what's happening at Kauffman Stadium between the Twins and the Royals right now, as we're scoreless, top of the second. I was telling you this during the break, JVT. I must tap the chest a little bit here and just issue out a my bad, a mea culpa, if you will. Carter Jensen, one of my home run bets, not in the lineup today. This is what happens when you do bet before the lineup is announced. So we are now having a different sweat, as we are sweating that he does not pinch hit in this game.
You're right. You want him out.
Stay on the bench. Please do not. Matt Quattrero, the manager of the Royals, please, if you're listening, I'm sure you're not. You're managing a baseball game, but do not put Carter Jensen in there in a pinch hitting situation. Usually DHs, sometimes catching, but yes, please stay on the bench, as we will be rooting for Royce Lewis to get us to the window by going yard this afternoon.
I'll be rooting for you. Hopefully that is what transpires. Reagan's been giving up some contact here today.
Yeah.
He gets another one here. So first two on, first and second. And, oh, my God, what a terrible run.
Who decided that?
I have no idea. We should explain what happened. Runner was going to be safe at second, no problem. For some reason, decided to stretch it to third, out by a mile. So we have a runner on second with one out instead of runners on first and second with no outs.
Yeah, not great. And Josh Bell now at the plate.
Not even close, brother.
Yeah, that's horrendous. That's really, really bad. Hopefully, Josh Bell does not ground into a double play of sorts. Or I guess it's fine. There's no double play.
It would be a ridiculous double play if that's what it is.
That would be insane. But sometimes with this tripod that is there, blocking where the base runners are at.
I apologize.
It's, hey, you know what? You work with what you got.
I blame Isaiah Wrinkle for the setup.
Can we just throw everyone under the bus in this segment? Who else needs to be thrown under the bus? I got gripes. Kidding. I don't. Everything is good. But yes, my guy Royce Lewis is on deck, so we'll keep our eyes on what's going on at Kauffman Stadium. But also the big baseball news today, though, JVT, is out of Pittsburgh, because the Pittsburgh Pirates are calling up Connor Griffin, the #1 prospect in the Major League Baseball farm system, makes his opener Friday as they take on the Baltimore Orioles. He'll be playing shortstop, according to ESPN's Jeff Passan. This guy, it's unbelievable, some of the stuff that he was able to do in the minor leagues. Like, I'm not a baseball scout. I don't pretend to be a baseball scout, but I got eyes, and I know what it looks like, and he looks like what it's supposed to look like. As Sarah Langs over at MLB Network, she tweeted out that he's going to be the first teenage position player in an MLB game since Juan Soto in 2018. Nobody's saying he's going to be Juan Soto. We're not going to put those expectations on the young man, but a lot of excitement in the Steel City as Connor Griffin, the guy who was the favorite to an NL Rookie of the Year, now gets the call up to the show.
Yeah, for these awards, we talk about it all the time, and many of them, but awards voters do make up their minds pretty early. So if Connor Griffin's going to come out and look any bit like the Connor Griffin that is largely expected to be, then he's going to be in the driver's seat to get this thing done and win National League Rookie of the Year. We've seen little moments here and there from some of the other contenders. Weatherholt had one early. We see McClain out there. I would even throw in, he's 22-1, but at least from an average and on-base standpoint, he's got some sprint speed to him on some of the metrics. Justin Crawford has performed pretty well, knocked in the game-winning run last night for the Phillies. So I think there's a pretty interesting race here. But the expectation largely is going to be that Connor Griffin, if he is anywhere near what we think he is going to be, that he is probably going to win this award. Yeah, what is going on?
This is like yakety sax. I got he was trying to steal third.
So the runner tried to steal third, and the catcher completely overthrew. I don't know what he was throwing to at second to try to pick him off there at second, I guess. But Salvador Perez just completely airmailed the throw to second, and I don't really know what he was aiming for there. And sure enough, that is going to lead to a run scoring for Minnesota. So 1-0, Twins up on top here. In a very windy day, too. I don't know if maybe the wind kind of caught the throw on that. But either way, Twins are up at the top of the second with a 1-2 count right now for Lewis.
My guy, Royce Lewis at the plate here, facing a 1-2 count.
Look at that wind, dude. It's kicking up dirt and everything.
It's like, did that wind take the ball?
Yeah.
It's just like that thing was like almost at Royce Lewis's neck, how high that pitch was. So hopefully he can go yard. I don't know if that's going to happen on this on this at bat. I would venture to guess that it doesn't, just given the odds.
You like to bet awards. Would you bet such a short price on a guy like Griffin to win this award? Okay.
Never in a million years. No. It's just, like, we don't know how he's going to adjust to big league pitching. We don't know how he's going to adjust just to being in the majors. It's so difficult for guys who you've never seen before at this level to bet a short price like that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, like, he comes up. He's likely going to go through some struggles early on. Maybe the market drifts out a little bit to where there's a buy point. Like if he struggles this entire month of April, or like maybe his wins above replacement is like negative 0.1 or something like that, then maybe people will start to say, all right, well, Connor Griffin, he's not ready or whatever, because that's how you can get some of these guys. Like there's going to be the struggle, and then they're going to eventually work their way out of it, and then there's going to be another adjustment, and then like it's a kind of like a cat and mouse game a little bit with some of these young players. I would just wait. Because I know sometimes, like last year, like Jack Caglione, when he got called up, everyone's like, oh, it's Cags Day, got to bet Jack Caglione, and this and that. It's like, he's going to struggle. Or Roman Anthony, he's going to struggle. But then they turn into eventual big-time players. We're still waiting on that for Caglione. Yep. But Roman Anthony now is thought of as almost like a dark horse MVP, which I would say pump the brakes on that one. But no, I would never bet a plus 350, plus 300 type of guy. He's 19 years old. That's just, I think that's wasting your money.
And to your point, too, there's also, we rolled through name-wise some of the other candidates. We should also mention Sal Stewart's off to a really good start for the Cincinnati Reds. He's already gotten deep twice, scored, I think it's about 5 times, driven in a few, too, hitting over 400 through just 6 games, obviously. But he's been performing really well. And some of the baseball savant tracking metrics for him are very, very good if you look at some of the numbers. Now, too short of a sample size to really buy in, but you're talking about, expecting batting average of 289 for him, expected slugging to 626, a barrel rate at 17.5% so far. These are all for Sal Stewart, so he's hitting the ball extremely well, and he's got a little bit of an advantage in that he played about 18 games last year at the majors, so he's a little used to it, and maybe there is something to him in the way that he has started this year so far.
Yeah, J.J. Weatherholt, another guy in St. Louis that's been pretty good so far in the early going. So there's guys out there. Andrew Painter, the pitcher. I usually stay away from pitchers in these just because it's harder for them to rack up the WAR consistently. Because like one bad outing and all of a sudden you're really behind the 8 ball against a position player. So like that's where it gets to be a little bit tricky because those guys get every opportunity every single day to kind of rack up WAR, which is pretty much what this has become. Like WAR, what is it good for? It's good for winning baseball awards. Yep. Like that's what it's good for because that's what a lot of the writers look at. Say, hey, who's playing well? Who's been really valuable? And it doesn't matter if it's just MVP or Cy Young. They also look at that as with the NL and AL Rookie of the Year as well. So it's a race to see who can have the best WAR, and if those guys are able to do it, they'll win the award. If not, they'll look elsewhere, as we've seen many top prospects not win this award because maybe they got off to slow starts or it just was not an ideal situation. So, yeah, hey, he's up. We're all excited that he's up. Pirates fans are excited. Were you big on this Pirates team in the offseason? Because I think a lot of people were bullish on them just because of the pitching staff, which is led by Paul Skeens, and the aspects of a Connor Griffin coming up and maybe adding a jolt to this lineup.
Yeah, it was hard not to be. I mean, the potential of the pitching staff is absolutely incredible. All of the notes we've kind of hit on the offseason, really echoing almost everything that everybody was talking about with this group, absolutely there with this Pittsburgh Pirates group. And especially with the way that the NL Central looks, I mean, I'm not big on the Reds. I think that they're probably going to slip a little bit, and the expectation is always too high for Cincinnati anyway. The Cardinals probably should be about a 68-win team or so. So the potential of the Pirates getting up there, finishing third, and pushing for a playoff spot, I think is there. And God forbid if Griffin actually comes out and is everything you expect.
Oh, man.
And then all of a sudden, all bets are off.
I mean, at that point, it's like the Pirates need to be buyers.
Yeah.
The deadline, it's like we've talked about, like, hey, are the Pirates going to do stuff? I know people have been having rumors like, oh, Paul Skeens would want to go to the Yankees or whatever, all that stuff. It's like they're not going to trade Paul Skeens because Paul Skeens is a legendary pitcher. But if they could build around him, then maybe the Pirates in a very gettable division, since St. Louis has kind of let go of the rope here over the last handful of years, that could be an interesting team out there in the Steel City. So Connor Griffin, your NL Rookie of the Year favorite, is now up in the big leagues, making his big league debut tomorrow when they take on the Baltimore Orioles. Speaking of Jack Caglione, he's now at the plate for the Kansas City Royals, a guy that has high expectations about this Royals team. Have you bet any awards in Major League Baseball? I have a couple Cy Young guys.
I have, let's see. I have, wow, why am I blanking on my San Francisco Giants pitcher who got bombed by the Yankees to start?
Logan Webb?
Logan Webb to win Cy Young. And that's it in terms of awards. I do have Joe Adele to lead the league in home runs.
I'm on the train. I have Shohei Ohtani to win NL Cy Young.
Interesting.
I think
I don't know if he's gonna pitch enough.
Give me 160.
I was gonna say he threw 6 right away when he came out. So.
He's the best player of his generation.
Yeah.
Why can't he do it? That's my thing. You're gonna give me the best player at 30-1. I'm gonna be interested. So Ohtani, NL Cy Young, and a little Luis Castillo at 100-1 to win AL Cy Young as well. All right, we'll be back with more on the other side. This is Money Moves.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, we are back having a good time here at the Circle Resort and Casino in downtown Las Vegas. It's Money Moves. He is JVT. I'm Femi Abebefe, hanging with you guys on this Thursday as the wind just continues to whip in this. At points you can barely see the game, but they're going to make through it because it's actually a nice day out there in Kansas City. It's sunny outside, but it is very, very windy. And as we were talking during the break there, like one of those balls almost got away from Byron Buxton out there at center, where it just kept carrying. And luckily for him, he's a good enough player to track it down. But this will be something to keep an eye on throughout the duration of this afternoon.
Yeah, he initially misplayed it out there in center and then caught up to it. But this thing is, some of these fly balls are going to carry. So I think you're going to have a shot with some of your home run props if you're out there. If you bet any of these Twins especially. We've talked about Reagan's, the fact that he's a penchant for giving up some of these fly balls. In a game like today, if you're going to give up some of those fly balls, that is going to be a problem, as Tyler Bradley almost found out before Buxton snagged that thing out in center. So this should be a higher scoring, I guess, than what we have been if we can get some of these balls up in the air. But we'll see if that's actually going to be the case as Reagan's gets a strikeout here. So 1 down in the top of the third inning.
Yeah, Reagan's got big-time stuff. Just can he put it all together? That's always been the question with Cole Reagan's.
A reminder that I laid at $150 with Cole here and have Vinny P on a homer. So let's go. Come on.
All right, so Pasquatch, rooting for Pasquatch to homer, for the Royals to win the game. We're also rooting for Royce Lewis to homer and for Carter Jensen to sit his ass on the bench. That's what we're rooting for here on Money Moves. Those are the things that we want to happen over at Kauffman Stadium. Let's talk a little NBA, though, because tonight is a really fun night in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, this is a banger night. Like, I know everyone, like, we all have our criticisms for the regular season, whatever. This is not the show for that.
I don't. It's perfect. What's the?
I don't know if I'd go that far.
What's the? It's the one of my favorite old videos, the memes when the kids are on the bus. Like, she's very gorgeous to me. Like, yep, that's me, buddy. I love the NBA.
Yeah, and the NBA regular season on a scale of 1 to 10. No, don't even answer the question. Let's just move on after that one.
She's a dime.
Nope, not so sure about that one, buddy. But I will say tonight's card tonight's card is really good as we have a fun doubleheader on Amazon Prime that a lot of folks are looking forward to. Timberwolves, wow, I even said the Twins. Baseball's on the mind. Timberwolves at the Pistons, and then the Lakers at the Thunder. Lakers Thunder being the headliner here. And I want to get into the card because, like, when you break down those two games, we'll start with Lakers Thunder because this is an interesting data point because the 2 times that they played so far this season, there's always been a caveat. It's like, oh, well, LeBron and Jalen Williams didn't play in the first game, and the Thunder won that one 121-92. In the second game in February, SGA didn't play in the game. Luka didn't play in the game. Thunder won that one 119-110. There's a couple injuries for this one. Alex Caruso's questionable, dealing with an illness. Marcus Smart has already been ruled out with an ankle injury. But outside of that, we're good on good. Like the Lakers' top guys are there. The Thunder have their top guys. And the OKC, they're a 9.5-point favorite with a total of 231.5. Like, this is a very valuable data point as to what we're expecting to see come playoff time.
Yeah, and the Thunder, for the most part, you look at the way that they have been playing as of late. The wins have been there. The covers have not. They have been very overvalued by the betting market. They haven't met the expectations of the betting market up to this point. So if they can do it here is really obviously the question. They have not covered consecutive games, the Oklahoma City Thunder, since February 25th and 24th, 25th. So it's been a really long time. In the month of March, they only have 4 covers to their name so far. This has been a stretch where, look, again, the winning streak has pretty much been long outside of the loss to the Celtics on March 25th, but they just have not been meeting the expectations thrust upon them. So initially, I would just lean to the Lakers only because we think that this Thunder team is maybe being a little priced too high. Having said that, you mentioned the most important aspect, I think, of this matchup. Marcus Smart being out. He is not by any stretch a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander stopper. He is your best option, though, against this against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Probably the only option.
Yeah, and so now, as you look at this, how is that going to fare? OKC at least has multiple big bodies to throw at Luka Doncic that they would feel comfortable in a one-on-one setting with. That, to me, is going to be it. Does Shea come out, maybe surpass some of these scoring props that are out there for him, is maybe something worth looking at. We know that even though he doesn't want to talk about it, he is gunning for these awards. He does want it. He has been playing extremely well. He's an awesome clutch time scorer, as we saw in that wiped away three-point shot that would have won the game for him. I just think that Shea, we're talking about like 31 plus at minus 115. I do wonder if this is a big scoring night for him because there is no real defensive option that the Lakers have for him.
It feels like a game where he's going to make a statement. And I actually think that it feels like, despite OKC not being able to cover these big numbers, I think the OKC is going to show that, hey, Lakers, there's levels to this. I think this is a game that's very much going to have their attention. We all saw the game you mentioned where SGA had the three-pointer that was called back due to the offensive foul. Detroit was shorthanded. No Cade Cunningham, which, oh, by the way, he's going to be reevaluated in a week with the collapsed lung. But Cade Cunningham was not playing in the game. It was like a watered-down Detroit Pistons team. Not so sure that they had OKC's attention. The Lakers, based on how they've been playing, especially how Luka's been playing in the month of March, where he was averaging 37, 8, and 7 in the month, I think the Lakers have their attention. Now that OKC is fully stacked on board, J-Dub had the rest the other night. Now he's back on the court. I think this is OKC or pass, the way I'm looking at this one. I would only lay the Thunder or not bet the game. I would never take it with the Lakers because I don't think the Lakers can defend. It's just their three best guys are traffic cones. Yeah. So I think it's Thunder or pass.
I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, some spots open 8.5, so at least heading in that direction for Oklahoma City. It's also worth pointing out that OKC does have a pretty solid rest advantage. This is not a second leg of a back-to-back, but it is a third game in 4 nights for the Los Angeles Lakers. OKC coming in on 2 days of rest as well, and at this point of the year, it is pretty big advantage to have some sort of rest advantage in these regular season matchups.
Anything else jump out to you before we get to some awards talk?
There's a couple of things here. Let's go with, you mentioned Minnesota and Detroit. Yep. We slipped past it, but I do want to note, so reevaluated in a week for Cade Cunningham does put you at April 9th. Reevaluated does not mean you're coming back. Reevaluated just means that we're looking to see whether or not that lung is good to go.
Yeah, ask Steph Curry about that.
Yeah, so you do wonder, now you're getting precariously close to the end of the regular season. You do still have that week before where you have the play-in that needs to be played before that weekend where the regular season, or should be the first series, begin. But I do wonder if, maybe you're just stretching the collar out a little bit if you're a Pistons fan or somebody in that front office. Like, man, this week, this reevaluation in a week better come back pretty positive because we are getting up to the edge right now of the end of the regular season. And if Cade can't be out there, and I'll invoke a team that's going to play tonight, Charlotte's a 5.5-point favorite against Phoenix, total of 225.5. I'm sorry, but I know they've played relatively well. I don't think Detroit without Cade Cunningham wants to see Charlotte in a 1-8 series if they make it out of the play-in.
Whew. Man, the Hornets have been one of the great stories of this NBA season. I'm not so sure I'm convinced that they are going to get out of the play-in, to be quite honest, especially if they're in that ninth. Charlotte.
Get out of here. We need a new host.
No.
We need a new host.
Let's be for real about it. Let's be for real
about the team that's second in net rating since the start of January.
That has zero experience in a one-off situation against a team like...
Not true. LaMelo Ball has been to the play-in twice.
Get the hell out of here.
LaMelo Ball has been to the play-in twice.
Come on. Okay,
here's smoked to both of them.
Here's Eric Spoelstra and Heat culture. One-off. Life on the line. Who do you want?
I want Iguodala. No. I want Charlotte, baby.
I'm pumping the brakes on it, man.
Laser beam pointed at the planet.
The aliens have the button. No, it's like, I know. I'm just saying, I love Charlotte. They're a really fun team, and they've been really good. But in the one-off scenario, which is what the 9-10 game is, that is a game 7 for you to advance to the 8-seed game. I'm not just putting Charlotte in pen and just moving on. Miami is a legitimate team as well.
Well, right now, Charlotte is, which we're pointing out, is in control of the 8 seed, so they would be in the top half of the play-in. But they're all tied with each other. It's all jumbled together. Correct. The Hornets and the Magic are both 40 and 36. The Heat are 40 and 37. So no, this is a nightmare scenario for Charlotte. They do have to climb their way out. It's going back to last weekend. That's why the loss to Philly was so tough last Saturday. Mm-hmm. That was an opportunity to get a head-to-head win with a team that was directly ahead of you and find your way inside of the top 6. And avoid the play-in, but that's ultimately maybe not going to happen as they are 2 games back of Philly with, my math is terrible, 6 games left to play, right? Yeah. 76 plus 6 is 82. There you go.
There we go. Mathematicians here on Money Moves. Speaking of those Charlotte Hornets, Con Knippel is the favorite to win NBA Rookie of the Year. His teammate from Duke, Cooper Flagg, is the only other guy that's under consideration. Yeah. Henry Abbott, NBA writer and analyst, was on Follow the Money earlier this week, and he spoke about the race and had this to say about Con Knippel's prospects of taking home the trophy.
It's not even close to me. I did a little research because I was going to be on this show, and if you look in any advanced stats, right, anything that involves offense and defense, Knippel's been way better.
Ooh.
I don't even think Cooper's been like top 3. So, and the Mavericks have been so bad. It's no disrespect to Cooper Flag, who's going to be a marvelous player, but in earned wins, just to cite one stat from Dunks and Threes, very respected website. Con is at 9.6 earned wins on the season. Cooper's at 3.9, which trails even VJ Edgecombe. So, yeah, I think he's good, but I don't think he's Rookie of the Year.
2 things real quick, JVT, that jump out to me. One, he said Cooper Flag not even top 3, then also said no disrespect to Cooper Flag. Do you think that Henry Abbott, who is a very respected mind in the NBA circles, do you think he is more reflective of the voter base, or do you think he is more so on the outside and seen as more of sort of a black sheep, if you will?
I think he's. I don't know if it's not close, but I do think there's a lot of people who lean in the direction of Knippel. Zach Lowe, even on his most recent episode of his podcast, said that it's a lock for Knippel for him.
Wow, lock. Use that word. Zach Lowe, very influential in the NBA.
Doesn't have a vote though. Worth pointing out.
He gave up that vote.
Yeah.
Didn't want the hassle. I guess on his fake ballot, he's got Knippel. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about this during hour number 2, but also make sure justwinbetsbaby.com for free bets backed with analysis